Okay, I'm going to test another part of the Fantasy Hex Crawl, supplement of for Fantasy OSR, and this is the Wizardly Endgame supplement. There's a whole section, close to another 100 pages, that it details a situation where the player can go into the wilds. You probably have to have a more advanced player. You probably have to have found all of the epoch relics and acquired the 4 advanced abilities of the game. And then once you do that, you can enter a situation where you can try to, here's those epoch relics, try to build yourself a domain and become the next Dark Lord. And yes, it's more of a more ambitious evil game that's presented here. Now the wizard player begins with 40 slaves, and he will assign his minions to roll. Those slaves are not really assignable to rolls. They're just more of a hit point function in the game. And then you will do these 6 tasks: clandestine acts, ebb and hunt, eldritch construction, profane enchantments, recruit minions, open warfare. Now, I'm currently would be facing, it says who's mowing the grass, those are the minions you collect. I'm going to be facing a Baron X who has 300 equivalent soldiers, a Baron Y with 700, and a Baron Z of 1,000 soldiers, of with 2,000 total back in his estates. Now you can play this co-op with your fellow players. You can even play a co-op with your fellow players, and after the 3 NPC barons are destroyed, you can continue to see who's going to be king of the hill after that. Or you can play it solo, like I'm going to be doing it here. So here's my domain, and I got 6 different actions I can try to do each campaign season. I have my list of all my different augmenters here. They're no longer trophy parts when you get into the end game. They become magical charms that you can use to increase the number of dice you would roll for events. Now, the wizard, as I said, starts with 40 slaves. And have I marked that already? I have. 40 slave thralls right here. And I would again assign minions to roles, but right now I have not recruited any minions. It's the first turn. I would conduct clandestine acts, but again, I'm not playing against other player characters, and I don't have any minions to do those roles right now. So the first thing I would probably do is a profane enchantment and see if I can get self-improvement, one of these 5 different wizardly traits. So I would go down to the section on that, and if I go into profane enchantment, self-improvement, I would roll a die on a table. I'll post it in the chat. Do I start with any of those augmenters? I think I do. I think I start with 2d8 augmenters. Let me double check that. I'll come over here, and where does it say wizardly augmentation? You set the order of these. You can also pass, and by doing so, you can gain a trophy from each of your minions, augmenters. Here it is. Start the Wizardly Endgame with 2d6 trophies as gifts. So let me roll 2d6, and I rolled a 4. Of course, not a great roll. I'll grab a marker here, and I'll pick 4 of these. I'll pick feathers and clockwork, and I'm just doing this randomly. A scalp. I can't remember whether or not these are going to be good or bad, but there's the 4 I got. So if I go into a situation where it says I can use a feather here, a feather off of some sort of non-human or demi-human, a feather off a wyvern, I can use that feather to get an extra roll in the die roll. I would take it. Now, when I go into my, let's see, it's on page 173. I think I got a cheat sheet here, 173. And when I go to 173, that of course didn't jive. Oh yeah, it did. 173. Okay, here's the table I'm actually rolling on. I will try to get inscrutable, glamorous, hellish, mighty, despotic, or beloved. Beloved, I get to pick one of the 5 traits, but I would also then have to roll seasonal complications, and I would like to avoid that if I can. Here's my die roll. D6. And I rolled a 2. And that 2 is going to tell me that I'm glamorous, and I'm going to pick up the 20 slaves and the charismatic trait. So I go over here, and I'm now going to be 60 of these guys, which is nice. And I pick up charisma, which gives me a +1 die on recruiting. And I also now have 60 slaves. And occasionally I can take 10 slaves, sacrifice them to everything that's unholy, and also get another roll of the die. But I've got those 6 acts that I can perform. Let me go back and put those in chat just so you can see them again. And the 6 acts that I can perform are Clandestine, Ebb and Hunt, which is trying to get Talisman, sending my minions off to get Talisman, and Eldritch Construction, which is building these towers and things. Profane Enchantments, that's the first one I did, and Recruit Minions and Wage Open Warfare. I'm going to go right into recruiting minions next, and I would like to get an Elite Bodyguard. So I go to page 178, it's just a few from here, and I'm going to move down to my Elite Bodyguard. Did I? Oh, typed it wrong. 178. And I go to my Elite 178? Recruit 178. Here it is. 179. 178. I got to add a number to it. I'm going to recruit Bodyguard, and these are the ones I would trust the most. Elite Bodyguard. Now, they have augmenters of fur, skulls, windpipe, mucus. I don't have any of those. But if I did have fur or windpipe mucus, I could use that to throw an extra die my way. But I do get an extra die roll because I'm charismatic. So I'm going to roll 2 dice on Elite Bodyguard and take one of the 2 as my option. Here goes my 2 dice roll. I rolled a 2 and a 5. So a 2 would say that I've got Knowles, and a 5 would say I have Aslan. Those are all both very good. I think I'm going to pick those Knowles. I just have a feeling that those Knowles are going to be a little bit better as my Elite Bodyguard, and they're not going to stay there. They're going to eventually probably move to someplace else. But while I got them, I'm going to put some Knowles here, and I would like to do this in red just because it shows up a little better. And they're good. And let me delete this guy just because he's so nice. We do it twice. And get rid of this null and move this up in here. And there are 25 of them. I could roll randomly, but I'm going to take the default of 25, just not trusting my luck at this point. So I got 25 Elite Bodyguard of Knowles. And I can look up in the text what special abilities they have. Each of the monsters in the monster manual in the bestiary has a Wizardly section which describes what happens. And with Knowles, I go down, I'm looking on like after Deshai, after the Ebon Orcs, after my Elves, my Knowles, gain 1 more die roll when assigned to Enchanted Overseers building the wild card. So if I move these guys over to the Enchanted Overseer, I would gain an extra die trying to build this wild card. I'm not going to do that at the moment. I'm going to keep them where they are for that. And the Knowles, they represent mankind. They resent mankind for abandoning them into them in the worlds. The Knowles resent mankind for abandoning them in the worlds, unloved and unrequited. Wow, that's sad. Gain 1 more die on Enchanted Overseer. Count as 3 tokens attacking the field, and during enemy wall breach, 2 for defense. And they number 25 or 8d6. I want to roll random. And if they should ever fall below 10, they go down. Let me grab my text here and mark that they're X3. No, they're only X2 defending, but they're X3 storming, and they're X3 in the field. And you can see that I'm just, that's a defensive storm and field. So I know I got 25. They would count as a strength of 50 defending my towers and my structures. A 75 if they attacked one of these barons on their feudal ramparts. And 75 if they decide to just go out in the field and meet an army straight up. I'll double check that I did those right. Count as 3 attacking in the field and during enemy wall breach. And that is it. I go back down to my Wizardly game here, and I will look and see what the next thing I can do. I already did a profane enchantment. You can do each of these 6 once a turn. I will probably not be able to do clandestine acts unless I decide to move the gnolls to someplace else. When you initially hire them, you can move them around, but I'm going to keep them there for the moment in my bodyguard, my elite bodyguard. And the same way, open warfare, I would really have to have outland raiders to go off and attack in open warfare. I'm not going to move my gnolls there. This is just the first season, but I've already recruited. I've already did, and ebb and hunt would mean I'd move them to hunters and seekers, send them off into one of the 15 major underworld ruins of this imaginary endgame, and have them try to bring back a talisman, but I'm not going to do that either. Because I'm not going to move them. And we're going to go ahead and roll Eldritch Construction. Now I roll 1 die. If I have more than 3 structures, I lose a die, and I would have to have either arcane ability or a minion that has a bonus to the die, like this Gnolls gave me a bonus on the wild card. If I move the Gnolls over to Enchanted Overseer, and I had already 3 buildings, and I normally would not be able to roll any more construction, the Gnoll would allow me to roll for that wild card. And the structures themselves might also get a bonus. I'm going to just start with the Formidable Tower. It's nice because it has an intrinsic defense, which whenever I get attacked by these NPC barons, they automatically lose a certain amount. It's not significant, but it's a nickel and dime sort of game. Formidable Tower. So if I go over here and I go to, I get my little cheat sheet here, the construction is on 146. 146. And I go to my construction, and it is after the Ebon and Talismans. And here's my Eldritch Construction. Here's a different type of things. Here's what I'm starting with, a blank slate. And we're going to go to this Formidable Tower. And it's going to have intrinsic defense of 3d6. And I'm also going to roll to see what my result is on my table. Here goes my die roll. I'm only rolling the 1. And it's a 2. And a 2 would be that it's leaning precariously. Oh, I built a Leaning Tower of Pisa here. The engineering seems a bit wonky, but you add some extra weight on certain levels to balance the whole. You lose a d6 force side taken from each and every one of your minion groups, including the slaves. And beware an eagerness to lose all your slaves. Once they're all gone, then you're dead. The final structure is fascinating to behold. Gain 1 die on getting trade guilds. So I have, if I can grab my freehand tool here, I've built the Formidable Tower. It will have 3d6 for a total of 17 defensive intrinsic defenses. And that's nice because if I ever rebuilt the tower, you tear the old one down, rebuild it, I would re-roll my 3 dice, and the only way I would change my 17 would be if I rolled an 18. You always take the higher number. So that's probably going to be 17 the rest of the game unless I fortify that with some sort of profane enchantment, which I might do. But I also, as you remember, I gained from the tower +1 die. Did I put that exclamation point? I'm always doing that by holding. I'm not a good typist. +1 die if I do trade guilds. And watching people type is fun. From there, I have my Formidable Tower. So I did construction. I got my gnolls, and I got my improvement with my trades. That's all really good. That's a good first turn. And even better, nowhere in that sequence of events did it tell me that I had to roll seasonal complications. So I went out in the wilderness. I'm hiding from these 3 barons that I eventually want to destroy. And I just went to the ground and said, sim sim alabim, and I pulled a tower out of the ground. And then I went and I said, I am a new force. I am a new force in this universe. And then I've attracted these gnolls who said they saw this tower rise from nowhere, and they said, this is evil. Evil at its best. We're going to come and follow these guys because this man, Red the Mad is going to destroy the barons who have persecuted us gnolls forever and a day. And I'm charismatic, so they're attracted to me, and that is the roleplay aspect. Now, did I say I lost a d6 from my gnolls? I did. And I lost 6 gnolls. Can't get a break. And I also lost how many slaves? And I lost 5 slaves. So I go to 55 here. 55 and 19. Remember, if they go to 10, I'm in trouble. So 55 and 19 from that last act of building my Leaning Tower. 55. And I'm going to try to cap this as an hour. I'm just trying to do an overview here on the type of game. And I eliminated my, I grabbed too much here. Let me do that X2, X3, X3 again, just so I can remind myself they are double on defense, and triple on storm and field. Now, 19 guys tripled. That's not very good. That would be what? Roughly it would be 57. So if these 300 guys attack me, my elite guard would roughly do 57 damage back, and they would still have another 200 men who would just run in here, destroy my tower, and everything else, even though 17 more I'm from, trying to destroy the tower. I do not want to provoke them and attack them. Now, let me look at my conditional morale. My conditional morale started at 3. And I'm going to just use tally marks here since it's easier for me. I got my first diabolical trait. And getting a first diabolical trait, I gain 1 in morale. I built a tower. So each time I build a structure, I went up in morale. So I went up with the tower I built, I went up with the trait, and I attracted my first non-human minion. So went from a morale of 3 to a morale of 6. A morale of 6, as I look at it, conditional morale. A morale of 6. I went from contemptible all the way up to adventurous to indomitable. And as many as 3 of your minions are resilient. So I will mark the elite bodyguard as being resilient. And if I had others, I could do 3. And I will also, 1 non-human minion assigned anywhere will increase 2d6 in force size, and 1 demi-human assigned anywhere, I don't have any, would increase 1d6 in force size, and any mythic beast I have would increase 1 when I reach my new turn. And we're at the new turn now, so I get 2d6. Here they come. 9. So I was at 19 gnolls, and after a year, well, I'm lucky that these things reproduce, and some of their tribe mature, and I go to 28 with those additions of my elite bodyguard. And I start in the 2nd year. Should I keep a running total somewhere? Yeah. If I misquote and say on turn 5 that I'm actually on turn 6, you guys can forgive me. And I have gnolls at 28. Now I want to go into turn 2, and I can roll again on my profane. I'm such a weakling when it comes at my age. I can roll on profane enchantments and try to get a 2nd trait. But if I get charisma again, they toggle. And I would lose the charisma, which is giving me a +1 to recruit. It's pretty powerful. And I would also, since I lost the trait, I would lose 1 from conditional morale. What do I want to do first? I'm going to recruit first. And I'm going to recruit another bodyguard here. But before I do that, I'm going to move these guys over to my garrison. Now, if I moved them in Enchanted Overseer, remember I could get a bonus on rolling for wildcard. But I'm going to move them over to my garrison here, because if I get attacked by a seasonal complication, I want to be able to have at least some of the enemy killed here. And do I want to risk it and roll for, well, I'm going to roll my recruitment first, so if I lose the charismatic, I at least have it. And I'm going to go back to that table. What did I say here? 178 and 178, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to roll for our recruiting minions. I want to do another elite bodyguard since I made room there, and I'm rolling 2 dice and taking either one, and I get a 1 and a 2. Now 1 would be I recruited frauds. Don't really want to recruit frauds. Now I can get another gnoll with that roll of a 2. Now here's the thing about this. I could recruit a 2nd set of gnolls and have 2 different minions of gnolls, or I could take the gnolls I have and increase them by 25 by having the 2 groups combined. Now I don't know really, because even I am not as experienced in this version of the game. I don't know which is probably better, but just since I'm only going to play an hour, and I'm going to go ahead and treat them as 2 separate groups, because at this point in my gameplay, I think I really want to have more minions with more flexibility than having to have a really large group. And that could be a mistake. And if I play this enough, I would be able to look and see what works for me or what doesn't. But I got a second group of gnolls. That's handy to have. The dogmen like me. And we have, I remember because of my conditional morale was so high, I could also have a couple of groups be more resilient, and they would ignore some losses that come along. Resilient minions only suffer half the damage that they normally would suffer in the game. But we're going to build something besides the tower. I'm going to try to build that trade guild. I'm +1 die on the trade guild. Let me roll that. I'm going to roll 2 dice and try to build the trade guilds. And here comes a 2 and a 1. Not the best of stuff, but sometimes good enough is good enough. Construction's at 146. And at 146 we have Eldritch Construction. Getting late in the day for me here. And I am going to go down to the trade guilds. And I'm going to look up the result for the trade guilds. And these are areas that we can segregate off that allow humans and specialists to live and not be afraid of the gnolls or crossing paths with them. I would either get a paper mache, and the place is a little more than a tent city, and I would suffer great losses, or I can do fresh meat. Your minions break curfew and do mischief inside this place that's off limits. The merchants to hire. The merchants too. The merchants too. The merchants also hire your minions as private guards and enforcers. Maybe all that corruption is business as usual. It probably is for any humans that are vile humans that are serving me. If you do not already have Extensive Magazine or Oracle Sanctum, if you do not already have, and I don't, suffer 2d6 loss from your garrison, or else slaves if no monsters are there. Gain a +1 die constructing the labyrinth walk. Now, I lose 2 die 6 from my garrison. I'm going to lose 8. But because they're resilient, I only lose 4. So these guys went to 24. There's going to be a lot of up and down movements of numbers in here. If you're not the type of person who likes this sort of minutia of manipulating your domain here, you probably should stick either to the regular game of Hex Crawl, or you're probably not watching this video anyway. Let's not fool ourselves. And this was +1 die building the labyrinth. Labyrinth. How about labyrinth? Okay. And so I got a +1 die building the labyrinth, and I got a +1 die building trades guilds. If I want to rebuild it, I only have the 2 towers. That's another. That is another unique structure that I built, so my morale has gone up even more. And now I got to ask myself, I did not attract a demi-human or a monster to get any more conditional morale from minions, but I'm pretty good with 2 minions. Do I want to risk this? Let me look at it. If I go to 171, the profane enchantments, 171, and when I go to the 171 for my profane enchantments, if I do self-improvement, there's only on a roll of a 2 would I actually lose my charismatic. Only 1 in 6. I want to play that Russian roulette. Or I could go to extremely powerful sorcery and try to do something where I gain an actual spell. But those are probably better when I have lots of structures and lots of minions, so they have their greatest impact. I will go ahead and roll this enchantment. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Here it comes, a 1. Now a 1 is going to give me arcane and 20 slaves. So 20 slaves, I'm going to go to 75 here. That is a nice buffer. Now remember, I can also sacrifice those and in groups of 10 and gain an extra die to roll. When I get to the point where I can't really build any structures because I'm losing dice, I can throw slaves at it. And I also then got arcane. And arcane, freehand, stay. Okay, gives me +1 die whenever I do any construction. Those top two, especially for a solo game like this. Those are pretty good to have. I'm doing really well. I tested this once before, and I didn't post those videos because I got trashed from the very beginning. Oh my gosh, it was left, right, and center. I got my ass kicked. But this here, again, remember, I still have my my augmenters of various animal parts. And let me go back to let me make sure I'm not cheating myself here. And I go to the Wizardly Endgame, and I have done profane enchantments. I've done my Eldritch construction of my trade guilds. I've done my recruitment of another group of gnolls. Do I have any seekers? I do not, so I can't do ebb and hunt. Do I have any nefarious agents? No, I don't. I can't do clandestine. I can't do the typical clandestine acts. I could do enforcer with my elite bodyguard, but that really only is needed in a solo game after the fact to defend yourself from seasonal complications caused by the barons coming in to blow up buildings or assassinate me or bribe off my minions. And I don't have that threat yet. So I'm going to leave these guys where they are for the moment. And I'm going to, and I also picked up a second um, conditional morale. I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With 8, I am at a position where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I am already iron-willed. At iron-willed, all your minions are resilient, so these are all taking half damage. Your morale can go no higher. Mark at the end of the turn the minions receiving this benefit. It's all of them. All your assigned minions increase in force size. Non-humans by d6 plus 6. Demi-humans by d6, and all beasts increase 1. You may decide instead to harvest trophies if the monster is available in lieu of this gain. So in other words, instead of taking a d6 plus 6, let me roll it, and improving this by 12 minions, I could take those 12 newborn and teenage gnolls, and I could just decide that, well, come on in here for the recruitment video, and I can go slice and dice and take their ears or whatever, and possibly gain some augmenters here. But I think I'm gonna probably respect the fact that 12 there and make that a 37. I'm starting to get to the point where I can really attack and maybe defend myself against these. At least Baron X. It's going to be hard to get up to that Baron Y. And then the 2d8 here, or d8, d6 plus 1, sorry, a 7. Now this is one more that if my morale wasn't better, 7 is still so good that I think I should take the 31 here. And let me just draw 31. Don't be confused by my odd method of doing this. And now I'm 31. So I have 31 garrison gnolls. They would be times 3 they'd be times 2 I attack. They would count as 62 against this 300. And I have 37. That would be another 74. And I could almost take a third to a half of these barons if they come at me. Plus I would take the 17 for the towers. And I go into turn 3. I still have not generated any bad result that would cause me seasonal conditions, seasonal complications. And once again, do I want to roll a 1 or a 2 and lose one of these really good ones? Probably not right now. Let's start again with the fact that we're going to recruit minions. And I'm going to move these to my enchanted overseer. Gnolls, gnolls, more gnolls. And I will go ahead and recruit a bodyguard, and I'm going to roll 2 dice, 1 for charisma and 1 for the fact that I get a die roll anyway until I get, I believe it's 4. On the 5th one, I would have to have an extra die roll, and I wouldn't get 2 dice here. Let me roll 2d6 on elite bodyguard, and I've got a 2 and a 2. Now 2 and a 2 is not a whole lot of choice there. It's a 2. And I'm going to go to 178, recruit, and at 178, I probably should add 1 to all these just because I'm falling down. And recruiting bodyguard, a 2, a dog face. I got 25 more, and this is a time where I think I'm going to play my. I think I'm going to do this where I'm going to make this. I'm going to add 25 to one of these piles here. I'm going to make this a 56. A 56. I'm going to take the 25 new recruits that come in, and I'm becoming Lord of the Dogmen here, Lord of the Gnolls. And that 56 on defense is going to kill 112, but on the attack, it kills 168. I can almost have more than half them if I go into a battle and attack them in the field. That's tempting. If I decide to put these down at the Outland Raiders and raid this Baron, or if I decide to put them over here in the Prime Slayer and try to go in to assassinate him. But I don't have an elite bodyguard at this time. But so far, again, no seasonal complications that would make me need that bodyguard. And I'm not playing player versus player where I'm worried about Tony coming in and trying to assassinate me. Let's build another structure. Now I am, because the nulls are here, I'm +1 die on wild card. I'm also +1 die on Labyrinth Vaults. Now, I need a horrifying lair in order to recruit beasts, mythic beasts. I need an abnormal hostelry before I can recruit demi-humans. And it's just a matter of time before some of those start showing up. And if I don't have those buildings, they won't stay. And I need trade guilds, which I have, to recruit vile humans. Those are, like Amazons or gladiators. I have the trade guilds. I have 1 die for arcane, 1 die because I get to roll as a wizard, and then because the nulls are here, I get a 3rd die, 3 dice on wild card. Of course, I'll have that 3 dice on wild card, or at least it'll become 2 when I go to a 4th structure. I believe I have to get this abnormal hostelry instead. I cannot have demi-humans like ogres or minotaurs show up and not be able to have a home for them. So let me roll for that. I'm going to roll building. I already rolled for my recruitment, and I'm going to roll for the abnormal hostelry here to build it. I go to construction 146. And at 146, I should probably add a few. I'm going to look for the abnormal hostelry and pass the trade guilds. And I am ramparts, abnormal hostelry. This place is necessary to see to the unnatural needs of your minions. And I'm going to roll 1 die because I am arcane. 1 die normally because I have 3 buildings or less, and 1 more die for hostelry? No, I would get 1 more die for trade guilds, and I could re-roll my trade guilds. You can always rebuild something. But I will go ahead and roll 2 dice and see if I can get a good result. A 4 and a 6. One of those is going to be perfect for me. A 4 is potty training. Your minions are uncouth, goes without saying, but certain tribes have an overwhelming habit of polluting all the clean air and water. Now, this would mean I can't recruit minotaurs, Neanderthals, ogres, or vampires, and I would also, if you generate any of these results, you will lose those minions and maybe gain a trophy. Loners in the park. The monsters need space and a chance to eat weaker prey. There's no exception you provide. There's no expectation you provide any game to hunt. However, your design does not support extreme anti-social distancing things like automatons, centaurs, Neanderthals, and spectres. So which of the 2 do you think I want to have and not have? Will I miss minotaurs, Neanderthals, ogres, and vampires, or will I miss automatons, centaurs, Neanderthals, and spectres? If I get those vampires, they sound like and minotaurs sound like a pretty good, personal bodyguard or Outland Raiders. Ogres definitely are sort of a catch-all for fantasy evil armies. I'm going to take the 4. I'm going to take the situation where my limitations of my structure mean that I built the abnormal hostelry. The limitations on my structure mean that I will not be able to get let me put that in here. No minotaurs. And I put out the old welcome sign here. There will be no minotaurs, no Neanderthals, no ogres, no vampires. Did I say no vampires? Did I grab the wrong one? Oh, no. I want the what am I thinking? If I get lucky and get a vampire, I want to hold on to that. How about if I do this instead, where I go back in here and I take the 6 result, and if I get automatons, automatons is the way I always used to pronounce that, and I know many people would scream at me for saying it that way. No automatons and no automatons, no centaurs, no Neanderthals, and no Spectrus on my premises. And other than that, let's see what else happens with the 6. If you generate these, instead, you will lose a d6 minions from your garrison as you ambush them and collect the trophy. Are there any other penalties from all this? Still, there's more benefit to gain. Gain 1 more die when you recruit minions. Wow, that is nice to have. Let me grab that text here, and I am +1 die on recruit. And that's really going to pay some dividends because I am charismatic. I have the abnormal hostility, which will give me +1 die recruit. And as I start to get more of these, I'll lose dice trying to get all 7. But in the interim still, I will be rolling and I will be adding an extra die, I'll be rolling 3 dice and choosing from the 3 dice, looking for maybe some vile humans and looking for maybe some abnormal hostility. I do not have any. This is only what, the second turn? No, third turn, because I have 3 structures. I have 3 minions, of which I combined 1. And I've only done this twice. I'm not going to do a profane enchantment, although maybe just to give an example of it, I should probably roll just a spell. And let's go to 171, and let me roll on the spell table just to see what could possibly go wrong for my demo here. And instead of rolling self-improvement and risking a roll of a 1 and having my arcane turn off, or a roll of a 2 and causing my charismatic to turn off, I do have. Do I have any of these beaks and horns? I don't think I do at this moment. Can I perhaps get some of those if I killed some of my gnolls? I would have to check and see. There's a underneath the bestiary, there is the table on which you get trophies. But I'm going to go over instead and do extremely powerful sorcery. And I'm going to roll a d6. Do I have any of these things? Ashen hand, cute ears, lungs, mandibles, scale, spinal cords, wax whiskers. I thought I had scale. I have scalp, not scale. Thorax, feathers, clockwork. Just the 4 I had. I'm going to really need to start collecting some trophies if I want to get some oddball things later in the late game. Let me roll 1 die here with my sorting cap. Here it comes. A 5. That should be okay. A 5 is a scrutinize yourself. Remove parts of your body that present distractions. Add tattoos and piercings. Very cool. Elite. I know those are all so old. They're probably even 80s old, 90s old. Gain a d6 slaves and roll on X Factor. All right, d6 slaves. We love anything that gives us a plus without hurting us. 6, because I got a lot of slaves. I'm up to 81. I could have perhaps killed 10 of them and got an extra roll here, but I got lucky. 81. And back over to here. And I'm going to roll on X Factor. X Factor. Now, X Factor, bunions, crystalline tendons, hooves, udders, stingers, thorax. Thorax. Did I have a thorax? Hey, look at that. I got a thorax. I'm going to use that thorax. I'm going to use that thorax to get 2 dice on this table so that I can hopefully get a good roll here. And I rolled a 1 and a 6. One of those is going to be good. A 1 and a 6. A 1 is an evil goatee and a mohawk. So my evil persona has got an evil goatee and a mohawk. Very irreverent of me to write this game like this. Alter the esoteric by sculpting your beard and hairstyles. I understand nothing, rant and failure, and drop your morale. Nah, I don't want to do that. I'll take the 6. Supreme health. Your years of adventuring have left you fit. Youthful vigor serves you well. You to survive this self-inflicted ordeal. Add any of the 4 other previous listed incantations to your repertoire. However, your turn ends with seasonal complications, and we'll see that as an example. So I'm going to have seasonal complications because of I took a step too far. I'm experimenting with this thorax. I'm experimenting myself, and word gets out. I don't think it's my gnolls that are talking about it, but one of those slaves probably is a spy for one of the barons. Now, which of the 3 do I have? 4. I have a choice. I can get hypnotic voice. I could get precognition. I could get torments, or I could get forbidden knowledge. So precognition is immediately raise your morale by 1. If you have Iron Will, you gain nothing, so I don't want that one. And Torments, increase the token number across all combat for each of your current minions. Non-humans add 1. It's not great. It's increase your token battle for combat. Non-humans add 1. That would make these a 3-4-4 and a 3-4-4. I could do that right now for just the giggles of it all. I wonder if that's the best way to do that. Yeah, take the Torments. What are the other two that I could possibly pick? And again, I'm reading this with you guys as well. And I could take Precognitions, Torments, Forbidden Knowledge, or Hypnotic Voice. Now, Hypnotic Voice gain 1 more die on rolls performed and recruit minions. Wow. That is a really nice one. So I'm going to grab the Hypnotic Voice, and I'm going to add that spell to my repertoire here. So I have a permanent ward, a permanent incantation, which gives me the Hypnotic Voice. And I probably should just write on this as well that it gives a +1 to my... well, I'll tell you what I'll do to remind myself. I'm going to take that and put it right next to here so that I know I got +2 on my recruitment. 2. It's 2 mints in 1. Okay, so I got 1 for being charismatic and 1 for having a Hypnotic Voice. So when I roll for minions, I roll, until I get to like 4 and start losing dice, I roll 1 die for being the wizard, 1 die for being charismatic, and 1 more die for my Hypnotic Voice. And then sometimes the minions give you dice, but 3 dice now rolling for minions. That's pretty good. And this is the 4th turn. I have not rolled any. I have not rolled my minions yet. No, I haven't rolled my minions yet. I'm in a new turn, but I will have to do conditional. And 41 minutes in, yeah, we'll probably get to the end of this turn. I'll show you the seasonal complications. I'm going to make an attack here. It's probably premature for me to make the attack, but I might as well do it anyway. Let me roll for minions. I'm going to roll 3 dice, and I want to. Do I want to go right for Outland Raiders? Let me look at that table, because I can recruit anyone. And supposedly the ones I'm recruiting here would be a little bit better. If I roll for... The thing about Elite Bodyguard is it has a lot of chances to roll ones that are useful to you. If I go down to the Outland Raiders themselves, I can get seasonal complications, but I already got that. I can get Ebon Orc, or I could get Acacia, or I can get Centaurs. I can't use Centaurs, so I don't want to roll there. Or I can get the alternate table if I get really lucky and I roll of a 3. And that really lucky table would be Direwolves and Ogres. Hey, Ogres are good. Barbarians, which I can use as well. And Cossacks, those are good. Rocks, which I can't have because I don't have any Horrifying Lair. And the Lesser Giants, which again, I don't have a Horrifying Lair. I'm going to still roll on the... on my Elite Bodyguard. And I'm rolling, what did I say? 1, 2, 3, 3 dice. 3 dice rolling on Elite Bodyguard. 3 chances for me to get this. I want to make sure I can get to the... Oh, I'm sorry, right over here. I want to get... hopefully I'll get a 3 in one of these 3 rolls. Here comes my 3 dice. And I've got a 6 and a 4. And a 6. So 4 or 6. A 4 or a 6. A 6 would take Wicked Flesh Crafting. Now, Flesh Crafting, I could possibly make new minions, but right now, without a good collection of minions, I don't have any demi-human molds and any other mythic beasts. You just have to trust me. The 4 is going to be the Deshi. So I'm going to pick up Deshi non-humans. And why not? I have lots of non-humans here. And I'm also going to pick up 25 of those. Did I grab the pen? And 25 of those. And I will look up in the bestiary what the advantages of Deshi are. And Deshai. And the Deshai, the polar bear-headed men, I can I can gain one more die on rolls of assigned to Seekers and Hunters of the Zardu Agony. Okay, that's interesting. And it counts as 3 tokens on Keep Defense, and 3 tokens on Breaching Enemy Walls, and 2 in the field. So it is a 3, 3, 3, 2. It's sort of the opposite of what these others are. X3, X3, X2. And I'm going to take these guys right now, and just to demonstrate some of the other options in the game, and it could end horribly for me, I'm well aware of that. I'm going to put these guys down at the Seekers and Hunters, and I'm going to send them on a hunt into the Zardu Agony, because I get +1 die there. And I'm also going to move this huge group of gnolls that I have, and I'm going to move those to Outland Raiders. And do I want to, yeah, it's my Bondi Boxes is fighting me. Now, if I keep this here, I get a +1 on the wild card, but I already have a +1 die here. Now, when I go for my 4th building, I lose a die, so I'm only rolling 1 die unless I use the gnolls in my Enchanted Overseers as wild card. But what I really want to do, since I have to go through seasonal disruptions, I probably want to move these guys to here. So I will go ahead and I will use the Outland Raiders, and I will try to make an attack. And I will use, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to roll 2 dice to go into the Zardu Agony and see if I can use my Seekers to get something there. And remember, my guys are resilient because I'm of such high conditional morale. So I go to Ebb and Hunt. Ebb and Hunt would be 130. 130. And I need to go all the way down to the last of the litter here. Not the Demonic Ballroom, not the Dunes of Woe, not the Forsaken Islands. And I will go to the Zardu Agony. And because I'm using Deshi in the Zardu Agony, I roll 2 dice. 2 dice. And I've rolled a 4 and a 6. That 6 is probably going to be a beautiful thing. Now the 4 would be a Cold Void. The group, my Deshi, tries to take refuge in a place of comfort but are waylaid by the true owners of the sanctuary. I would lose a d6 because they are also resilient. I would only lose half of that. And my Seekers would come back with brain and scale trophies. Okay, I like that. But if I take the 6, entering an innovative building, your minions wander trying to solve a puzzle of a tesseract of ice caves that loop back on themselves in all directions. How do you survive? Unknown, but you find the Talisman of Zeal laying upon your bed one evening. The distant sounds of your lost Seekers and Hunters sometimes menace your dreams. Concoct something and stop sleeping. Rest is for a wuss. So, did I lose anyone? I don't think I did, unless it says that anytime you Ebb and Hunt, you lose your guys. I don't think that's the case, because if I rolled really poor, it would say your Seekers and Hunters never return. So these guys come back with the Talisman of Zeal. Now, the Talisman of Zeal, I'm pretty sure that I cannot use it yet. I don't have 3 traits, so I know I need at least 3 traits to use some the Talisman of Zeal I now have in my possession. And if I was playing player versus player, this would open me up where occasionally other players would try to come and steal that. But I have the Talisman of Zeal. Let me look up what the Talisman of Zeal would do. The Talisman of Zeal from the Zardu Agony gain the ability to hold loyalty of Magna Domenico. If this great one is not among your minions already, it arrives in a D6 campaign seasons. This talisman may only be activated by a wizard with tyrannical and 2 other traits. I have 2 other traits. If I rolled the die 1 and 6 and got tyrannical, I could then activate the Talisman of Zeal, and this major demon like Orcus would show up to help me. Now, if I look at my did I roll instead? Yeah, I rolled the Hypnotic Voice this go around, didn't I? Yeah, I think I did. Maybe I didn't, but don't hold me to that. If next turn I could maybe try to get this tyrannical, this would be the time to use your any and all of your augmenters to add extra dice, because it's only a 1 in 6 chance I'm going to roll that tyrannical. I think it's a roll of a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is a pick. If I roll a 5 or a 6, so the more dice I'm rolling is the more chance I can roll that 5 and a 6. And Also with this, I don't want to roll that 1 and 2 and be forced to lose my arcane or charismatic. And did I want to roll another? I'm getting, I would probably roll another tower or something. I roll that wild card. Did I keep a guy there? No, I didn't keep anyone there. 1, 2, 3. I got an extra construction. I could try to get my horrifying lair now. That'd be nice. But let's go ahead and do an attack in the field. And so attack in the field warfare is 189. Let's make sure that we can do it because there's some conditions. Minions, trophies, warfare. Only conduct these actions after you acquire 3 minions: Outland Raiders, Nefarious Agents, and Prize Slayers. Okay, so I can't roll to attack them directly. I'm building up to it. Good job, Deshi. And I can't move these guys back to make myself Outland Raiders, Nefarious Agents, or Prize. I have 3 minions, but I can't consolidate them in the 2 slots until the next turn. You can only rearrange your minions at the end of your turn, not during your turn. Or you can rearrange your minions when something happens where you gain a new one or somebody is forced out of a roll, which happens in the game. These Seekers as well, they're away at the Zardu Agony. They won't really be back bringing me the Talisman of Zeal to the end of the turn. But I'm going to go ahead and roll seasonal actions. And the seasonal actions, I do everything I can do. I did my Ebon Hunt. I haven't rolled for that extra tower. It may come into play, but I'll just pass for the moment. And I get to roll improvement since I'm so high. I got 2d6 added to my garrison, 8. I got 2d6 added to my Outland Raiders, and I got 2d6 added to these guys. Wow, those are good rolls. So an 8 here puts me at 45. Oh, sorry, 45. Let me mark them down. 45. And another 7 here would put me at 63. And another 8 here, no, another 7 here would be 32. And now if I grab this guy and get rid of him and move in the 63 and get rid of him and move into 32. Isn't it so fun to watch people clicking on graphics and moving them around on a screen as a form of entertainment? Perhaps we could have some theme music or something here. All right, 45, 63, and 32, and I'm going to roll on seasonal, and this will be the last thing I'll do before I'll close the video down. You probably got a pretty good overview of what's going on here. I didn't really attack anything yet, but maybe I'll fudge this on my seasonal complications 201, and maybe I'll force a grand battle to come at me. 201. The 201, so seasonal complications, and I'm at iron-willed, so I'm going to roll 1 die. There are augmenters in here, and I maybe could roll something better. Up on iron-will, rolling 1 die, and the augmenters for this would have been antenna, adrenal gland, forked tongue, jaw, leafy udders, spinneret, venomous sacs, or wattles. I don't have any of those. I could have instead have gotten the Talisman of Zeal, which gives me another conditional bonus, by the way. And I could use some of these other augmenters. If you think I'm rambling, that's okay. There are words you can read if you decide to play this product. And I rolled. What did I roll? I rolled a 3. I rolled a 3. Battered. Your domain is attacked. Testing your forces. Resolve back-to-back Grand Tactical. Perfect. Okay, so Grand Tactical twice. Grand Tactical, the first Grand Tactical. Now this is the Baron X, hearing that I got the Talisman of Zeal, hearing that I have 3 fortifications, hearing that I'm an arcane, charismatic, would-be Dark Lord that's rising in the wilds. He sends an army of 300 at me. After the 300 army is defeated, then the 700 starts coming at me, then the 2000 starts coming at me. So the 300 comes at me. I get to roll battle order. I roll 3 dice versus Baron X. So 3 dice. And I want some good varied rolls from this die. And I want a 4, a 2, and a 2. 2 twice doesn't help me. A 2, telepathy. I can add my seekers and hunters to the field. Interesting. And a 4, I can add my nefarious agents to the field. Now I can attack these guys in the field. And if I attack them in the field, then my Outland Raiders are the ones that defend the castle. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to have these guys, because defending the field, these are times 3. So 63 times 3 is going to be 189. 189 of these guys that showed up. Goodbye. That's going to put 111 left. 1, 1, 1. But, unfortunately, as is most of the case in this game, those guys gave their life, because attacking back 300 more is going to add. If I had gotten some extra rolls here, maybe of garrison or Outland Raiders supporting the garrison, if I rolled Outland Raiders defending the walls, I could have maybe combined these two groups, and with all of those extra men defending the walls, I might have defeated this outright. Now, what happened with the after I did that? Who dies? Well, example, you send 20 Ebon Orc to the field. They die badly. The result will be you reduce the Baron by 75 tokens. And that's what I did. I sent my 63 gnolls into the field, and they destroyed a total of 189 of the Baron X's troops that come in. Now, if how many died on both sides? If no enemy forces of the Baron are left, you may rest easy. That's it. You only lost what you sent out. Typically, each Baron attacking brings far more to punish. The Baron X starts with 300, and that's a recap. The leader of rebellious force is overrun. I am overrun? No, they continue on to attack me. Let me double check on that. And if I have met them in the field, you can meet the enemy in the field, or you can wait to attack the walls. If you go to meet them in the field, your Outland Raiders are the initial token forces. You must have minions there other than slaves, yes. If you wait and let the enemy come to you, perhaps no choice, you use your garrison tokens. On defense, you also get your tower, your ramparts, and your profane enchantments. So I went into the field to meet them, and I killed that many. Then, because I have the seasonal complication of I'm going to have 2 grand battles, the second grand battle is going to come against the guys 110 that are left. I'm going to roll 3 dice to see if I could possibly add my Seekers to this, although I can't, because these Seekers are so far away in the Zardu Ecstasy. It's just going to be the 45 guys here on defense. 45 on defense. My battle order won't matter. I don't have anyone else to add. These were the best guys I had. And those 45 on defense only double. Only double. And so I only kill 90 of them. Oh, I cry a little bit. 90 of them. But they go down to 21. Those seasonal complications, boy, you do not want them to come about. And what happens? Who dies? Well, I died the man. Bad aftermath, because I've been overrun. I lost, wait, I got 17 more intrinsic kills from these guys. Oh, look at that. They're down to 4 men. 4 men attack my castle, and that's all it takes. 4 men. Am I dead? No, I'm not dead. My morale's too high. But I lost 2 sets of minion. Baron X is at 4. And it's going to be a brutal game of attrition here. But I am frenzied in Iron Wills, and I have a bad aftermath because 4 guys are left. I could just kill those other 4 guys. Lose by your choice either one of your structures or one of your minions. You may collect a trophy if you choose the minion. If you have no structures or no minions, lose 25 slaves. You retain the talisman, your wizardly traits, and any profane enchantments that you already understand. Your morale drops to contemptible. And that's how we slowly can see that attacking early can possibly be the death. But I'm back to contemptible, what I started with, and I lose 1 structure. I would lose, I'm +1 trade guilds, so I'll lose the trade guild. And I will not lose my last minion here. And that seasonal condition will end my turn. I would take these guys, and I can put them anywhere. Not that it matters. I can just leave them here for now, since this is where I'm going to end the video. And that is how you play this Wizardly Endgame. And you can play it with your buddies, and all 3 of you, or 5 of you, or how many is playing, are trying to defeat these barons. And if I had if I had put my minions in different places, or if I had a few more turns before I got a seasonal complication, or even if I had taken the initial 25 gnolls, extra gnolls I had, if I had made another group and instead put them in nefarious agents, outlands, and prize slayers, I can maybe have gone on the defense, on the attack against the Baron X before they came to me. There's other things I can do where I can put the guys in, as I said, nefarious agents, and I could try to do a murder for hire exercise, or an assassination on Baron X. There's a number of other things I can do by putting my minions in different positions, and all of that is defined within the body of this game manual on all the different things you can do for waging open warfare. Let me just drop up to the table of contents here, and at the I can my clandestine acts, I can assassinate. I can use an enforcer to keep myself from being assassinated. I can do murder for hire and kill 150 perhaps of the enemy. I can do prize larceny. I can steal talisman from other players in the game. Raids and reprisals. On Ebb and Hunt, you saw that where I went to the Zardu Agony, and now the Zardu Agony would be empty. No other player could get that talisman out there. It's in the game. And if a seasonal complication came along where the enemy, one of the barons, was trying to take that back from me, back to the Zardu Agony, that can happen as well and force me to roll like secret police or a range warden to try to protect my own resources. I can build up to 11 different types of structures. If I ever get this Monument of the Epoch built, that's a win in the game. If I ever destroy all 3 barons, it's a win in the game. And I can continue to get profane enchantments. Maybe I should have been a little bit more cocky and tried to get a 3rd element here, seeing that the tyrannical, if I had just got it by luck, I would be able to use that Talisman of Zeal as well. And recruiting minions, you saw that. I can recruit different types of minions. A glance on the table, depending upon whether you have abnormal hostilities, trade guilds, or horrifying lairs, on whether or not you can get the beasts, the demi-humans, or the vile humans, would tend to steer you in a direction to pick Prime Slayer or Outland Raiders. Wage open warfare. Again, I got to have at least the Outland Raiders, Nefarious Agents, and a Prime Slayer before I can even attempt rolls on this table. But here I can do Chaos Cataclysm, which means I'm going to go and I'm going to attack them as hard as I can. And I'm sorry, Assault Fortress, I'm going to attack them as hard as I can. The Chaos Cataclysm is I'm going to teleport an elite crew of minions into the enemy castle and try to cause disruption there. Circuit of Devastation, I'm going to destroy all their crops and burn all their villages, and patrol my own domains to keep other people from doing this for me. Reinforce my own walls so I can guarantee the fact that those Outland Raiders will be there defending my garrison in case. And rally. Rally is another way of improving your station and improving your men. All part of the end game. In retrospect here, I got attacked twice, got a little cocky maybe. I should have, instead of building the abnormal hostile area, if I had built the ramparts, I would have more intrinsic defense. I could have stopped that baron. I could have used some of my slaves in prior rolls to get better results, so I wouldn't have been as constantly getting the same minions. I might have gotten that demi-human I was looking for. And those are just, live and learn and luck and see what you can do. More later.